Hi, I am Lauren. Let's do some graphics. We have a particularly challenging image here, and it's been about 6 days since I've worked on this or thought about it. So this is going to be real fun trying to retrace my thought processes. So first, my first impulse was, all right, let's try to make like a hand traced vector, but I knew I wasn't gonna do the whole thing. Like I knew I was making a video, so I just wanted to kind of briefly go over the beginning steps of working with an image like this, where you can't just do a bitmap trace to get it. You're gonna have to like touch every tiny little bit of it. So here's an example of that. Uh, Line by line, path by path. There are a few different ways to do this. This is a method I've used on a lot of different images. It works great with photographs, depending on how good the photograph is. How much can you zoom into the photograph to recreate some of the detail? So with this one, I try to keep it really basic. Depending on how uptight you are, you can go back and uh, smooth out some of those nodes, take a little more time with some of the smaller details. For this, I really just wanted to get something really quick because I noticed there's three of them, three of those little snakes right there on the top of the head, and they all look very similar. So I was like, if I just make one, I could copy and paste this thing. So here's the first one, and it's only got a few different colors. And we're using the eyedropper tool to get the color from the actual image, and we're basically just building a complex collection of paths on top of that. I thought about using the calligraphy tool to do this, but if you use the calligraphy tool or a pencil, you're going to end up with a lot more nodes on your lines. When you use the pen tool, you get to decide how many nodes are in each path. It's each click of the mouse. And when you do something more freehand, like if you're using a tablet with a pen, you got more options, but it just comes down to how many nodes you want to deal with in your image. So, man, I don't like the way this is going, this narration, but I'm just gonna keep plowing through it. Here's where I did the duplication of the first one just to get an idea of like, all right, like how complicated is it going to be for me to get through this whole image. That's not too bad. Yeah, it kind of looks like they're transparent, but once you've done all your tracing, then you can go back and work with all the little small paths separately. You can, well, I like to take the opacity down on the paths while I'm tracing so I can still see the image underneath. And then once I'm done with the trace, bring the opacity back up. So I had given up on that tracing and decided, all right, let me just try to get one bitmap that I can work with here. Really, I just attacked this image from as many angles as I could think of, trying to find, okay, what's the quickest way to get the most basic copy that's worth reprinting onto a shirt or a sticker or a tote bag, whatever. Reproduced anywhere. A couple of problems with this. The background, for one. I wouldn't want to put that onto a shirt with the background. The background should probably be recreated. There's just so many different things going on with this image. Anyway, we got one bitmap trace right here. This is a vector, completely scalable. But when you look at it, you can see there's a lot of little dusty black artifacts left over from the trace, because this original image that we're working with is not very high quality. So any traces that we're going to get from it are also not going to be very high quality. But here, if we have this black and white vector, we can convert that to a PNG and then throw it into the raster editing GIMP, the GIMP tool. That's what we're doing here. That is not an SVG, that is a PNG. So if we zoom in on that PNG, we're going to see pixelation. But what we want to do here is try to remove as much of the noise, the visual noise, from this picture, and then take it back into Inkscape and get a better bitmap trace from it, a better SVG that doesn't have all of this dusty mess in it. So that's what we have here. Well, that's part of what we have here. That's the PNG, and now we've put it as a layer on top of the original image, just to see, all right, well, does this improve the image at all? Could I get a better quality print or bitmap out of this? And then once I had it in there, I was like, all right, well, maybe this is going to be the final form of this image. You know, I don't know how long it would take me to do the full vector trace, you know, with the face, the hair, all the snakes. The words are easy. That's probably the easiest thing on there. But you see how there's just so much going on between the face and the snakes in the middle. It's a matter of high contrast. So anywhere in a picture where there's not a lot of high contrast, then it becomes more difficult trying to get a vector, trying to get a bitmap trace. All that stuff just kind of gets confused. The computer gets confused. It's like, I don't know which part is which. So here we're just trying to make it a lot more obvious. So that's my PNG still. I wanted to do some more erasing on the PNG before I brought it back into Inkscape, because really what I'm trying to find here, try to produce here, is a black and white image, because that's going to be the minimum viable product at this point. You know, if you're going to work on something for an hour or less, I'd say at least try to get a black and white, or it's just black, transparent black outline, and then say, all right, is this a design that's even worth putting on anything? But this one's going to take a lot more work. That right there, that's a fully scalable vector. And it looks okay, but when you zoom in, yeah, you can see like the tracing of each color layer is very, it's just shoddy. Like it's not, it just comes down to that contrast, or any place where it's grainy or fuzzy, it's going to show up in the bitmap as just visual confusion. So here I was just trying to mess with the color a little bit. Like, can I get this thing to be a little more stark, and then maybe use that to get a better trace? No, not really. Maybe a little bit. There's a lot of experimenting to do with this kind of thing. I think ultimately I'm probably just going to end up going back to the first method, where I just hand trace small vector paths and then put them all together, because really the most complicated thing there are the snakes. Everything else is really easy. Those are such simple paths. The details, the complicated details, are this newsprint type shading, where you can see in the fold in this when in doubt banner on the left and the right. It's these little black newsprint dots. You can see it in her what is that called between the eyebrow and the eyelash? I don't even know. Her eye sockets, like her eye shadows, the shadows of her eyes, they're, you know, when you zoom in really close, it's newsprint. Go look at an old newspaper. It's just a little it's a dot matrix type thing. So that's not easy to duplicate. I mean, there are brush effects you can use afterwards, but for this kind of thing, I'm like, I want very clear paths. I don't want a lot of graphic detail solutions. I want simple passes on things, high contrast, and easily identifiable subject matter. It's a lady with a long snake tongue. It's a Medusa looking lady with some snakes around her head. So this part that I've been talking over is me just trying to work in GIMP with that raster image just to try to cut out the background, because the background was causing also some noise in the bitmap trace, and I wanted to get a better one that had no background in it. But I was having problems with it, and this video has no happy ending. Like, this file is still open on my computer, and where this video ends is exactly what that file still looks like. I don't even know if I saved it, so I'm not giving up on it. Yep, there we go. I'll show you. Hold on, friends, I'll show you. Yeah, this is just where I left off. I'm not going to give up on it. I definitely want to go back to this method. So here's the little snake guy. This was just a sample. I always worry about touching stuff after, when it's been a week since I've done anything. Here are the little snakes. So these paths are kind of all jumbled up together. So I couldn't just pull one snake off and then move another snake. Like, these are all just pieces. I could probably do 2 Control Z's here. Oh my gosh, like it's all like that. All just teeny tiny little bits. And until you group all these together and then assign them layers, or depending on how uptight you are, then it's really kind of a free-for-all and a delicate mess. So what I was trying to say earlier is, once you get these snakes done, you get your 3 snakes here. These guys, this would be kind of fun to trace. Do the snake pieces first, right? And then you have a layer of snakes. Group all of that together and then work on the lady face. Group the lady face as a second layer, underneath the snakes. I'd definitely put all the snakes on the same layer. That is what I'm going to do. Well, probably not, because once once I figure out exactly how I'm going to do something, then it's not fun anymore and I'll go find something else. But I actually really like this image and I'd love to help get it in print, like get a better version of it. If this is your image, like I don't even know where it came from. Somebody gave me this image. They're like, here, if you're looking for like a good time, I found this image. And I was like, yeah, I ask no questions. So if it's your image and you want me to take this video down, I will gladly do that. I mean, no disrespect. If you're interested in having your image worked on, if you got something you want some help with, do let me know. I'm always looking for a good graphics time. And I also noticed there's some new subscribers on this tiny little channel. Whether you're bots or real people, it totally made my day. So thank you very much. Hope everyone is doing well. There's definitely going to be a part 2 for this image. I just don't know when it'll be. It could be 6 months from now, 6 years from now. Just kidding. I really like this. It was probably might be over the weekend. We'll see.